Welcome everybody. I Prakash Ranjan Sinha on behalf of NISM welcome you for the session on debt and debt management. So let's see what we are going to talk in this topic. What we will cover. We need to understand debt, burden of debt, credit score, debt management and use debt responsibly. First of all, what is the meaning of debt? Let's be very clear. Now, generally, when we say that person is in debt, what do we mean? In Hindi, we always say it's karj. That means that person owes a lot to others. He is in debt. Now, many of you might be confusing between loan and debt. This is very, very important. Just we had a session on loan and we talked about it, why we take loan, which loan is good, what to avoid, from where you need to take loan. And the base point is you take loan for something which benefits you, for purchasing house, assets, all those things, or maybe for education of your child. So the purpose as well as how much you are taking loan, that's important. How much is a very, very important thing here. Let's see, how much. This is a very, very important thing. So, if you are taking a loan beyond your capability, for example, if you have taken a huge amount of loan and even to the best of your ability, you are not able to pay, that means that is still outstanding on your head. And that is what gets converted into. So I cannot say all loan are bad. Yeah, all loan can lead to debt. So debt is something which is our own creation. Nothing wrong with the loan, let me tell you. Debt is my own creation. So now when I talk of a debt, it is what? That means something which is outstanding on me. So now I need to understand the debt. Now when we talk about debt, what is debt? Of course, everything is money only, let me tell you. Loan also you take to buy something or to use for something, and that is also money. Now, money, when we talk about money, the creation of money, the circulation of money, the usage of money is a very, very integral part of any economic system or even for you or me as a life. It's very, very important. So we know in our economic system, money plays a very, very important role. Creation of money, circulation of money, as well as usage of money, all these things are important. Now, when we talk of a creation of money, of course, money is created when the, let's say for example, RBI prints note or currencies are there. So that is what we call it money. So RBI has printed some note, but RBI has printed it for getting circulated within the economy. Now, debt is something, what it is. Now, debt is created from that money. We need to understand how. So as I told you, it is must for any financial system. But now let's try to understand debt is a money multiplier. How? I'll tell you. So debt is a money multiplier. Now within the economic system, debt is one thing which multiplies money. How? Let's give an example. Let's say Sandeep has got 10 lakh rupees. 10 lakh. Let's see. Now Sandeep, what he can do with that 10 lakh? Maybe he can buy something, he can purchase something, he can use something, he can invest. Let's say take an example, Sandeep goes and deposit this 10 lakh into bank. Now this 10 lakh is with bank. Now what bank will do with this 10 lakh? Now it's another important thing. Let's say Sushil goes to the bank and he wants to borrow from the bank. So what bank will do? Definitely bank is not going to lend everything because there are certain RBI guidelines. So let's say 8 lakh is given to that Mr. Sushil and 2 lakh bank keeps with themselves. Let's say that is kept with the bank as per regulatory norms. Now this 8 lakh has been taken by Sandeep. Sorry, Sushil. Now Sushil take this 8 lakh and goes and buys something of this. Now he has gone and bought something from, let's say, Nikhil. He has bought this thing from Nikhil. Now this Nikhil has got this 8 lakh because he has purchased something worth 8 lakh. Now what Nikhil is going to do, assume that Nikhil again goes to the bank and he deposits this. Now the bank deposit base increases to 18 lakh. Please make a note of it. Because 10 lakh was deposited by Sandeep and 8 lakh has been deposited by Nikhil. Now the deposit base of bank has increased to 18 lakh. 10 lakh plus 8 lakh. Please make a note of it. Now the new money is of course 8 lakh. Now what bank can give? Bank can further give it to somebody. Let's say bank has given 6 lakh. Just to give you an example, let us say bank has again kept 2 lakh with them. Because that will keep on. As a regulatory norm, they have to maintain it. Now this 6 lakh has been given to somebody. Let's say it is Mr. Dilip. Now Dilip again is going to use that money. Maybe he has bought something from Sushant. Now this 6 lakh has come to Sushant. Now if this 6 lakh, Sushant again goes to the bank and deposits. Now the bank deposit base is 8, 10 plus 8 plus 6. If you look at it, it is 24. So if you look at it, we started with 10. But what happened? Within the banking system, it has become. So this becomes a deposit. Now whatever bank further lends, that is a debt. So what happens? This is what I'm trying to say. It is a money multiplier. Now when you look at any economy today, whether it's India, US, Japan, China, anywhere, the actual money which has been printed, it is much, much lesser than the actual debt which is created within the economy. So when we look at it, debt from that perspective, from a layman perspective, it looks, no, that is a very bad thing. But if you look from the economy perspective, money which is printed for circulation, for usage, for consumption, but ultimately when it goes to the banking channel, it is creating a debt. So it's a money multiplier. It is must, debt is a must for any financial system. Why I'm saying it is must for any financial system? Because when you look at any biggest entity, let me tell you, let's look at USA, for example. Now USA holds almost 40% of the world debt. Can you imagine? So when we think about anybody who is having a debt on their head, it's a bad thing. Sorry, it's not. How we look at the debt, that's more important. So US is having the maximum debt, but at the same time, US is the most developed economy. So the question is not of debt. The question is for what you have taken that debt. Same like what I've said to you about loan. It's the question about how you have used that money. If you have used that money for productive basis, then of course that's not wrong. But if you have not used for productive basis, for asset creation, or maybe something investment, then that's not good. So you have to look from that perspective. So it is must for any financial system, and that's why if you look at it, for example, government, what they do? They borrow money from the public, from the market, by GSEC. So what is GSEC? See, GSEC is nothing, but that is a debt which government is taking from the market. But for what that debt is taken? That debt is taken for building roads, transport system, airports, infrastructure, so many things are there. So in fact, that is an investment for a better future of the country. So debt is not always bad. But yes, if the debt is not managed well, then it can give you a wrong result. So we need to understand that, because that is must for any financial system. So what is important is ability to pay back. That's very, very important. So anybody can take any debt, and we have seen within our banking system also NPAs are created. But who are the persons or the entities who have fall under that NPA, who have not paid back? There are some entities who have taken maybe more debt than those entities, but they have paid back, so that's not important. Now, that's why debt is a double-edged sword. When I'm saying debt is a double-edged sword, if you use it wisely, correctly, it's going to help you in your wealth creation, your asset creation. But if you misuse it, or if you have taken debt for a wrong purpose, then it is going to harm you. Now, when you look at even the biggest industrialist, not only in India, across the globe, they have also taken debt from bank or financing company. So why they take debt? Because every growth in this I'll just give you an example. If you just look at the balance sheet of some of the top companies, look at what it was some 20 years back or when they had started, you will find they had taken loans. So whenever a company starts, there is some contribution from the promoter, but they take a lot of money from the banks or any lending institution. And what happens? All this growth, whatever period of time has happened, because of a huge capital base. So debt financing is also one way of financing the growth of industry or companies. Now, same way, if we look at our life also, as I gave you example when I was talking about loan, if I want to purchase a 2 crore flat, and if I don't take debt, then maybe I will never able to take it. Even if I am investing and I'm thinking where someday I'm going to buy it, let's say, when my investment value will go to 2 crore, but by that time this 2 crore flat would have appreciated to maybe 3.5 crore. So rather than chasing that, I can buy that in advance with some component of my money and taking debt from bank, that's loan from bank, and creating an asset base. So if you look at it, not only individuals, corporates, and even countries have grown. And if you look at the debt which most of the countries, big countries are having, it is much, much more than what India has. I can name you, for example, USA has almost 40%, China almost 10-12%, Germany, France, Japan, all these countries are having more debt on their head than what India has. And if you look from the economic development, they are far ahead than us. The reason is very clear. So debt is taken for the development. If it is used wisely, of course, it's not going to harm you. But if it is taken for wrong purpose, it's going to harm you. So that's why it is a double-edged sword. We all of us know what sword can do. It can kill you also, maybe it can kill somebody else also. Now the question is, how much is too much? And in my earlier session also I told you, this is also again important, how much loan I should be taking. It should be within your repayment capacity. So we were talking about debt which has to be paid. Now let me just share a story with you. Maybe this is not relevant looking at the present day scenario, but just to give you some insight what used to happen earlier, which maybe we have seen in many of the Hindi films. Let's say there is a farmer, he goes to a rich landlord in a village. There's a jamindar there. And that farmer wants 1 lakh of loan. Now all of us know this falls under unregulated. It's not a regulatory. Now whenever we talk of unregulated, we need to understand there are two entities. One who is giving money and one who is taking money. Now anybody who is giving money, of course, is cash rich. Anybody who is taking money is cash shortage. So here in this example, you can see the Jamindar is a rich person, whereas the farmer is a poor person. Now, it's needless to say, there is always a dominance of the rich, which is Jamindar in case. So Jamindar is going to decide what rate of interest he has to pay. So he has decided, let's say 12% per annum. Maybe the farmer tried to negotiate, but he said, no boss, not less than 12%. Left no other choice. The farmer decides, okay, I'll go for it. So again, the period has been decided, and it is decided that this amount will be paid, which will be covering both the interest as well as the principal. And now since 1 lakh is taken, the farmer is poor, so against what is the collateral? That is the farmer house. So this is now agreed between the two entities. But then the farmer realizes, boss, I do not have the capacity to pay this much. Maybe I can pay only this much. So he says, sir, please reduce this monthly payment from 1101 to 1000. Now, if you look at this situation, what can happen? 1 lakh. Let's say I put it 100,000. So let's say the loan amount is here 1 lakh. Now he has to pay 12%. So what is the 12% of it? Of course, it becomes 12,000. And if he is ready to pay only 1,000 per month, so per month it becomes 1,000. Now if you look at it, 1 lakh, 12% becomes 12,000 for the whole year, and for per month it becomes 1,000. Now if the farmer is going to pay only 1,000, which is nothing but the interest, that means this 1 lakh outstanding loan remains as it is. And even if he continues to pay for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, or 50 years, let's say, he will keep on paying 1,000, but his outstanding 1 lakh will always remain as it is. And we have seen in many of the Hindi movies, it happens. You must have seen, where the Jamindar says, or his son says, your father had taken this much of loan, and the son is still paying. So by looking at this example, we can see it, and this happens also. Now what is important is, whenever somebody is taking a loan, he should know very clearly whether he is able to pay the principal or also not, or whether the outstanding loan is reducing or not. If not, then you never know how long it is going to pay off the loan. And in this example, the farmer will just be paying interest only. The principal amount remains the same. So that means even for next 100 years, it remains the same. That means the farmer can never get his home back. That means this is gone. This collateral is gone. And this is what is called debt trap. That means you have fallen into a debt which you are not able to clear off in spite of best of your effort. So that's why it is very, very important for what you are taking loan, how much you are loan, by what time you are going to pay off. And as we have seen in our earlier session also, this also should always keep on reducing. Because if this does not get reduced, then of course, you never know how long it will take to pay off the loan. Because interest is something which will be there, which will keep on adding. So, burden of debt, that means leading to debt trap, that's one thing. So, debt could be a trap if it is not managed well. So, one should never fall into this. But what could be the consequence if somebody falls into debt? That could be loss in job. And as in my earlier session I told you, when I was talking about loan, today banks are looking at the CIBIL score. And this has been in the news. You can Google it and you will find it out. So, anything above 650 for all banks other than SBI, that will be considered for giving job. So, again, that is there. Now, even if, let's say, somebody is already in a job and he is not able to pay back his consumer loan, or let's say credit card loan, then one way where they want to put pressure on that person is they bring this to the information of their employer, their senior. Now once, because I know a lot of such cases where the company comes to know and they call that person, the HR calls that person and says, "So we have come up with this complaint from XYZ company. You have taken loan and you are not able to pay it off." So what is going to happen? The impression of that person is going to go down, because if you are in a debt, you have taken something which you are not pay off, that's not going to add any value, some positive image. It will create a negative image and it can lead to a job loss also. So that's one thing. Loss of social respect. I can give you an example. Many people take car on huge loan. What if suddenly the bank people come and they take back their car? So now everybody who's there watching it, so they will find why the car has been taken. Oh, you have not paid back that loan. So again, that is going to damage your social respect. That's true even for home loan. The bank will come there and they will inquire, and maybe they will ask 10 questions to the neighbors. So it is going to damage your self-respect, social respect. Loss of assets, because whatever asset you are owning has got a value. Let's say, for example, if you are, in order to pay back loan, you want to sell something. So to a large extent, it is linked with the distress sale. So let's say if you want to sell something in order to pay back. So what is going to happen? The other person who is going to buy from it, he knows it for sure. You are at a distress. So even if the value of that thing is X, he will pay you less than X, because you are in trouble and he would like to exploit your situation. Suicidal thought, God forbid, that should not happen. We have heard stories, news, that many people have committed suicide. So many things happen. Not only they commit suicide, in fact, they even lead for the whole family to do suicide. So again, that's a very, very negative thing which can happen. Family breakdown. Again, this is I'm talking about for the married couples. Because if there is something which is bringing disrespect, disrepute to the family, there could be infighting between the couples and maybe there can be breakdown. Not only that, this is true even for brothers. Let's say one of the brother who is in debt, maybe his other brothers or maybe his siblings, they will like to keep some distance from him. Mental stress. Now if you are in debt, and you know how much stress it creates on your mind, and if somebody is in a mental stress, you will not even able to concentrate what your work. Maybe sitting in your office, in the back of your mind, things are going, how I'm going to pay this debt. You're not concentrating on your work. That can affect your performance in the workplace. That can impact your promotion. So many things are there. Distress sell, left with no other choice, selling at a discount. Lifestyle compromises. For example, let's say if somebody is earning 50,000 or let's say 1 lakh, they are able to live their life very happily. But let's say they have fallen into a debt and there is a pressure of debt repayment, then maybe they have to sacrifice many of their discretionary expenses. Maybe they will stop shopping. Maybe they are not going to buy, let's say, clothes. Maybe they will not go out for vacation or dinner. That means somewhere you have to compromise, because ultimately you have to save money to pay. So debt is a trap. It is a trap if not managed well. And what can lead to? That's before you. So this is the last thing one should be doing it. Now today we know there's something called credit score. So which is also called CIBIL score. So this is again, there are some companies which create scores, and that is again dependent on your purchases, your payment of credit, your dues, all these things. Now higher the credit score, so it starts from 300 and 900 is the maximum. So there is a range. So anything above 600 or 650 is considered to be good, and below maybe average. Or so again, credit worthiness, it gives you the credit worthiness. Now, if somebody goes to take home loan or education loan, they always look at these things. Even going forward, let me tell you, this can become a very, very strong yardstick for taking an employee. I can give you an example like this. Now, every company, they want a good employee. Now, what is the definition of a good employee? Of course, he should be performing, he should be giving the best result. But apart from that, they also look at it, how sincere, how disciplined, how honest this person is. And when I'm talking about honest, it is honesty towards yourself, sincerity towards yourself, discipline towards yourself. So if I'm not honest to myself, if I'm not sincere to myself, if I'm not disciplined to myself, then definitely I'm not going to be disciplined or sincere or honest to anybody else. So if my credit worthiness is not correct, or maybe the CIBIL score is low, that can affect my job, my employment, my career growth. So this is a very, very important parameter which everybody needs to know it. So the range is between 300 to 600, and anything above 600 is considered to be good. Now this range is not something which is static. This keeps on changing. So this is issued by the certified credit information companies, and these are the companies: CIBIL, Experian, Equifax, and CRF Highman. This is based on your credit history, what you have purchased, when you have made the payment, of your total eligible amount, how much you have utilized, whether 80%, 90%. So the more you utilize, it's not going to add to your credit score. If it is within a range, let's say less than 50%, then of course it is good. Credit mix, what different type of credits you have taken. So that also they look at it. Higher credit score is always preferred, which is definitely, it should be above 650. Why is a good credit score important? So let's say if I approach a bank for any loan, because maybe today I don't need any loan, maybe today, but I don't know in course of time, maybe after 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, maybe I require a loan. So maybe I have to go to the bank and I have to take loan. So the first thing they are going to look at is your credit score. And if your credit score is good, then of course you get a faster loan. Not only that, if somebody is having a bad score, or I would say average, then maybe bank is ready to or willing to give the loan. Maybe they will look at some collateral, but they will ask for a higher interest rate. But in such case, if I'm having a good score, that person can negotiate with the bank for a better interest rate. So that advantage is there. Again, if somebody's credit score is good, then maybe instead of 20 lakh, he can ask for 30 lakh, which he can get it. So he can get a higher loan amount. For credit card, of course, as I told you, there are silver card, there are gold card, there are platinum cards. So you have got varieties of credit card. And we have seen, initially somebody is given a silver card. After some time, the bank itself approaches that person and says, sir, why don't you upgrade your card? We are offering you gold card. Then after some time, maybe the bank approaches that person and says, why don't you go for upgradation? We are offering you platinum card. So what happens? This upgradation is happening. But why this upgradation is happening? Because bank or the credit card company which has issued that, they are keeping a track of all these things. So they are saying, okay, this person is a very honest person. When I'm saying honest means he's able to honor his commitment. So he's taking loan, his credit are paid on due date, no outstanding is remaining after the due date, no interest, no other things are there, there is no dispute, the transaction, all these things will follow that. So they will offer you a higher credit card limit, which is going to help you. Access to pre-approved loan. So all these things are there. So why a good credit score is required? Because it is going to help you for a better loan, on a maybe better terms and condition, and all these things, maybe if it is offered, it can help you to buy some assets, productive assets, or maybe for investment. For example, let me tell you one thing. Many of the parents want to give the best of education to their child. Let's say the child has just passed the 12th. Now the child is not having any CIBIL score. So on what basis bank is going to give that loan? Of course, government of India and banks are quite liberal in that sense. They try to help up to the maximum point to help the young child or the young student so that they can grow their career. But if the CIBIL score of the parent is not good, maybe, or there are some issues, then at times bank gives some lame excuses or some reasons and they disapprove the loan or they don't give the loan. So in this case, even if the child has not done something wrong, maybe just because the parents, the father or the mother, maybe they have not handled their debt or loan or credit card payment, whatever it may be, correctly, he suffers. So this credit score, when we look at it, it does not only impact us, it even impacts the dependent, like our child, our son or daughter. So we need to understand the importance of all these things. It's very, very important. Many times, let me tell you, I'm talking of extreme emergencies. Even if you want to withdraw cash using your credit card, at times maybe that is not allowed in case such things are there. So one should always try to have a very, very good credit score. As I told you, it should be greater than 600. Most probably it should be 650. I think if it is the better, the more it's good. So we are talking about a good credit score. So generally it is measured by CIBIL score. So there is a range. And of course, remark, let me put it this way. So if the CIBIL score is from 300 to 500, it is considered if it is 500 to 650, it is considered average. If it is from 650 to 750, it is considered good. And if it is 750 to 900, excellent. So as we were talking about, let's say this is the midway part. So of course, this is something which one should be trying to be in this. So now CIBIL score is very important, and today anybody at any point of time they can know their CIBIL score. So they can go there, they can to this agencies which are giving it, and they will provide you. In fact, time to time CIBIL score do come, so you can find your CIBIL score, and always try to have either in good or in very good range, always. So even if it is on the average, try to improve it. So now let's look at it, how to improve my credit score. What are the ways to go for it? The first thing, as I told you, in case there is delay, in there is a default or the lesser payment is made, what is due to you, then of course that impacts your credit score. So always pay dues on time. Always pay due on time. The best way is always to put some reminder. Today I think all of us are having mobile phone. So let's say if the due date is 25th of the month, keep a reminder on the 23rd of the month only. At least 1 or 2 days before it. Or maybe put an alarm Or maybe you can write on some whiteboard if you are having in your place. Keep a reminder there. And you pay dues on time. Don't delay it. Don't default it. Don't make payment later than the due date. So you have to put some reminder to pay dues on time. The second one is lower credit utilization issue. So let's say even if you have been entitled to take credit, with example, let's say a credit card up to 1 lakh. That does not mean I should be using all my 1 lakh because I'm entitled to go for it. But let's say the moment I start hitting the upper band, it impacts my credit score. Because what happens for a bank, now you are entering into a danger zone. So let's say if my credit utilization ratio is, let's say 50% or 60%, which is quite, I would say, normal, then it's good. So better always, I would say, it should be less than 50%. That's the best way. Even if it touches 60% also, you should try to bring down to the 50%. Don't use it to the maximum. Timely pay your utility bills. Now this is also very, very important because many of us think, let's say for example, we pay electricity bill, we are paying water bill, maybe we are paying our telephone bills. Let's say if it is a landline, MTNL, or all other things. And many of us are under this impression, if we are paying, let's say a few days later, maybe it's the payment is carrying over, maybe we are paying with some penalty, it's not affecting my CIBIL score. Whatever usage you are doing it, whatever consumption you are using on credit, everything gets affected in your credit CIBIL score. It's not only your credit card or maybe your loan payment. So please don't think that it's only these two things which get affected. All your utility, whatever you are consuming, starting from your, let's say, telephone, your, let's say, mobile phone, electricity, water, everything, it comes. So always timely pay your utility bill. And as we were talking about, keep a reminder, put a due date. Balance between secured and unsecured level. Now, let's say the more you go for unsecured loan, again, that's the risk which you are going for it. So again, loan, in the first instance, I'll tell you, you should always be taking loan only for the thing which you really require it. And also, amount should be that much you are able to pay back timely and with comfort easily. So that's there. Don't inquire about loans unnecessarily. Now, it's a very, very important thing. Generally, we have got a tendency to Google and to find out. Even if I'm not intending to take a loan, just for information, we keep on surfing, or maybe we are inquiring, or maybe we are sending some mail, or whatever it may be. Now, whatever today we are doing in, let's say in a digital world today, everything is creating its own record somewhere. Let's be very clear. So if I'm surfing unnecessarily, again, that also it is impacting my CIBIL score. So one should not do it unnecessarily. If it is not required, why to do it? And particularly through digital form. That's very, very important. Avoid payment of the minimum balance only due. Now this is again, many people think bank gives you this facility, particularly in a credit card. Before this due date, this is the minimum balance you can pay. And many of us think, okay, fine, if I have paid the minimum balance, nothing is going to harm me, or there's no problem. It does impact your credit card score, CIBIL score, because you are not paid the whole amount. And since you have paid some minimum balance, there must be some reason. Even if, let's say, many people think, okay, I'm having cash, but since this is a facility given to me, why not use it? But that's where that person is going wrong. Because maybe he is using it, but if he was having cash, then why unnecessarily he has not paid all the bill on time? Why only minimum balance? So in a way, what he is doing, he is damaging his image. That's his credit score. So always, never just pay the minimum balance. Pay all. Only in, let's say, in dire consequences or dire situation, maybe suddenly, let's say something, sudden big expenses has happened, maybe because of, let's say, health reason, or let's say maybe because of some medical issues, maybe then at times you can get affected. But there also, now it's a very, very important thing. Maybe you have skipped making a payment on a due date, or maybe you have made a lesser payment. You need to again go back to the bank and you have to convince them what was the reason for which you made lesser payment or not timely payment. Because many a times banks do also understand your situation, your problem. So let's say if you are having a good track record, then it's not going to harm. So they will look at your track record, and if you are having a genuine reason, which is backed by some documentary support proof, maybe you can give some doctor or healthcare expenses on those bills, then they will, of course, they will look at it and they will consider it, and maybe they can improve that, or they will not take it that seriously. So it's very, very important. And as if you were looking earlier in my earlier session, I was talking about today, almost every bank is offering credit card to everybody. So you will get a call from maybe X bank, you get a call from Y bank, from M bank, from Z bank. Never be tempted to have multiple credit cards. Always have just 2 or 3 credit cards, not more than that. That's enough. So by having more credit card, it's not going to help me. In fact, that is also going to damage my credit score. Let me tell you. Because all these things are being taken. Have a long credit history. So as I was telling you, for example, let's say there are many people who think, why not have 10 credit cards issued by 10 different banks? And if I'm carrying it in my purse, and when I open my purse, it looks very great, as if it's going to create a very, very great impression. Yes, maybe you can show off before your friends, your relatives, your colleagues, anybody. But again, that's not going to create an impact. The reason why I'm telling you. For example, let's say if somebody is having a 10 credit card, and what he's doing, he's not using all the cards simultaneously. Maybe some month he's using A, maybe some month he's using B, some month he's using C, like this he is using. So what is happening, if you look from the bank-wise credit card, one thing, there is a irregular credit utilization, that's one thing. There is a not long credit history. But if the same person, let's say, if he is having 1 credit card or 2 credit cards at the max, and he has been using it for, let's say, a longer period of time, that is going to create a better credit history than having multiple credit cards and also using them irregularly. So this is also very, very important. Don't try to go for multiple loans unnecessarily, because the more loans you take, again, you are falling into that situation, that trap. Go for loans or debt only that you require it. The more you go for it, the more you are creating a situation where your credit score can get distorted. So try to be within the limits. That's the very, very important thing here. So debt is not bad, but yes, debt becomes bad when it is not managed well. So let's look at some of the debt management, what one should be doing it. So first one is total EMI as a percentage of monthly income. Now every month somebody is getting some income, and percentage of that money is going to pay the outstanding due or outstanding loan. So if it is less than 25%, it's better. Let's look at the total assets divided by total liabilities. So total asset means whatever I own, liability whatever I owe to the other entity. It should be 2 times of the liability, whatever it is, the value it is. Annual interest as a percentage of annual income. So I have to pay some interest, which we, in a corporate world, we call it interest coverage ratio, let's say. So here we are looking at it, same thing. What is the annual interest which I'm paying as a proportion of the annual income which I'm getting it? Again, it should be less than 20%. So these are some of the yardstick which people have to follow. Let's say in case, maybe in some month, it goes to 30%. Immediately try to bring it down. Keep this thing in mind, because this is my maximum limit. I have to be within this range only. Momentarily or maybe occasionally, sometimes it can happen. I'm not saying that. But over a long span of time, on a regular basis, if you are within this limit, then it's better. So the prepayment period, personal loan, always go for something which is less than 2 years. Don't go for something which is a longer period. Car loan, less than 5 years. Home loan, less than 20 years. And as we were talking about it, within loan also, you have got different options. Whether you want to go through EMI, or you want to go through fixed principal payment or flexible payment, mandatory. So that's again depending upon different type of loans. So let's say for example of home loan, EMI looks better. Maybe for a smaller loan, maybe you can go for a fixed principal or maybe mandatory interest or flexible principal payment. But whatever you take, again you need to be very clear on that. It should be within your payment or repayment capacity. Again, I would like to repeat the same sentence. पाँव उतना ही पसारिया जितने लंबी चादर हो. Please, never try to compete with others. Because if you remember, in managing income and expenses, one thing I told, that was the very first sentence which I told. Income is not 100% in my hand. Most of the thing, it is beyond my control. But as far as expenses is concerned, maximum is in my hand. So expense management, if you remember, we had talked about it. Budgeting, important, not important. So all these things are very, very important. So yes, expenses within your range. Only if you overspend or go for something which is not required, then of course you fall into that. So follow this rule. Use debt responsibly. No loan is a free money. You might be seeing a lot of advertisement in newspaper. I mean, so many things happen. I have seen. So we feel that it is a free money. No, it's not a free money. There is a cost. Not free. There is a cost. And this cost is not only in a form of interest. Sorry. This is a wrong way. In fact, this cost is also in form of mental stress, hardship, reputation, job loss. I mean, so many things are there. So I am not going to look cost only from the monetary terms. I have to look, this is more from the implication terms which can happen on me, on my mental status, on my health. And you must have seen, there are many people I have seen personally, they become sick. Suddenly they start looking old. Why? Because maybe of some pressure on them. And money, let me tell you, is the most important medium in our life. But money needs to be managed very, very carefully. And particularly when I'm talking about money, it's more investment, saving, expenses, all other things. Everything is interrelated. Always pay your dues on time, which I have been talking about. Don't delay it. Even if you are getting that, make minimum payment. Sorry, yes. Maybe that's a facility. But why to use that facility? If I'm having money in my hand to pay it, let me clear all my dues. Let me sleep very happily, cheerfully, rather than sleeping with some stress, because that's going to add to my health. Do not borrow more than what you require. Don't go for over borrowing. Yes, there will be temptation. Somebody will come and will say, sir, you take this loan. And today we are seeing, every day, some or other people keep on calling you. Sir, we are offering you interest-free loan. We are offering you collateral-free loan. We want to give you 5 lakh. Yeah, up. And there is a temptation, but you have to control the temptation because it's not, please remember, it's not free. It might look free, but it's not free. Avoid overspending. That's the key. The more you spend, because what happens, if not, I'm not having cash in my hand. If I'm having credit card, maybe I'll overspend. That's why I told you, have only 1 or 2 credit cards. Because if you are having lesser number of credit cards, then you will definitely going to spend less. But if you are going to have more, then you will end up spending more. So always avoid overspending. In case you are not able to handle your debt, your loan, your expenses, then always seek a help of a professional. So there are a lot of such professionals who will give you guidance about how to manage your debt. In fact, after this very beautiful session, or all this training program which NISM is conducting, I believe that itself is helping you, and you don't need to take help of any professional. In fact, when you go through all these training modules which NISM is giving you in this whole financial literacy program, most of your concepts, doubts, everything will get cleared. So let's again see what has been the learning thing for us. First, debt, as I told you earlier, neither good or bad. Please always remember, nothing is good or bad in this world, because whatever has been made has got some purpose. I'll give you an example. Can we say knife is bad? The same knife we are using every day in our home for cutting vegetables, fruits. But if I use the same knife for killing somebody, then it becomes, so knife is not bad or good. It's the usage of that thing that is. So debt also is neither good or bad. It's the usage. For what I have taken debt, how much I have taken debt, whether I'm able to pay the loan or debt on time or not, all these things. So debt itself is not good or bad. The usage, the reasons, and not able to pay back debt, that's something. Always take debt for productive use, not for non-productive. Credit score, very, very, very important, because today everything is getting digitally recorded. Because whatever we are doing, let me tell you, everything is getting digitally recorded somewhere. So credit score, what you are spending, everything is getting recorded. So please maintain this credit score. Always try to have always understand how to improve your credit score. So we have already explained you how to improve your credit score. Be on time, don't delay, don't have multiple transactions, too much of a transaction, all these things. Keep a check before using. Keep a check using debt management ratio. Ratios I've already told you so many things. Try to be within that limit. Be responsible while taking debt, because ultimately you have to be accountable and responsible toward yourself. Whatever wrong you do, you are going to face the consequences of that. Nobody else is going to face. So if you take a wrong decision as far as taking debt is concerned, unnecessary debt, big debt, not able to pay back that debt, then only the person is going to be responsible, accountable, and he will face all the problems. So always one has to be very, very responsible towards yourself. So this is responsible toward that's the key. So with this end our session on debt, and I thank all of you for giving your invaluable time and attending this very good, excellent initiative and program of NISM. And I thank you and wish you all the best for your career, your future. Thanks to all of you.